I never expected my life to change because of an alien empress, let alone 7 alien husbands. Yet here I was, standing in the grand throne room of the planet Virilia, trying desperately to look like I belonged. It all started a week ago, when an impossibly bright light engulfed me during my midnight walk home. The next thing I knew, I was standing in a hall that looked like a crystal cathedral, facing a tall, majestic figure with iridescent skin and eyes that shimmered like galaxies. "I am Empress Liara of the Virelian Empire," she announced, her voice echoing like music. "You, human, are named my heir." Me. Her heir. I was still in my ratty hoodie and jeans, and the idea sounded like some insane dream or a bad sci-fi novel. "I'm honored, Your Empress, but I think you got the wrong guy." Liara smiled with the weight of centuries behind it. "No mistake. Our ancient prophecy spoke of a human who would unite our fractured empire. You are that human." I blinked. "Wait, unite? I barely unite my socks." Part 2. Learning the ropes and husbands. I was dragged into a whirlwind of training on alien politics, history, and languages, barely keeping up. But what truly blew my mind was meeting the 7 husbands. Yes, 7. Liara's husbands, all powerful Virelian nobles, had their own agendas, quirks, and attitudes about me. There was Zala, the grumpy general, who looked like a walking tank and grunted more than spoke. Fenrin, the smooth diplomat who could charm a star out of orbit. Velian, the scientist, who kept poking at me with weird gadgets. Sarnak, the artist, who drew strange portraits of me and insisted I was his muse. Tava, the mysterious spy, who always seemed to appear out of nowhere. Rian, the cheerful trader, who offered me alien snacks constantly. And lastly, Dallin, the youngest and most skeptical, who made it clear he didn't trust humans. They each wanted a piece of the throne's power and were not shy about vying for Liara's favor, or mine, now that I was her heir. Liara explained with a sigh, "They are all bound to me, but they also must respect my heir. If you accept the burden." I was overwhelmed, but also oddly fascinated. 7 husbands. How does one even rule a planet with 7 powerful, sometimes bickering spouses? Part 3. The First Crisis. Ruling a planet wasn't just about looking good on a throne. The moment I stepped into the role, a crisis hit. A rebellious faction on a nearby moon had declared independence, threatening the stability of Virilia. The 7 husbands immediately showed their colors. Zala wanted to launch a full-scale attack. Fenrin argued for diplomacy. Velian suggested deploying experimental technology. Sarnak proposed a peace art festival, which no one took seriously. Tava offered covert sabotage missions. Rian tried to broker a trade deal, and Dallin warned me to watch for spies in our midst. In the middle of the chaos, I realized one thing. If I didn't act fast, this planet would tear itself apart before I even learned how to sit properly on the throne. I called a council meeting, my first real test as heir and ruler. "Look," I said, nervously gripping the armrests, "we can't all do our own thing. We need a plan that balances strength and peace. We're family now, right? So let's act like one." The husbands exchanged skeptical glances. "But you're human," Dallin muttered. "You don't understand our ways." "Maybe," I said. "But I do understand something else. We're stronger together. Let me try something. Zala, prepare the defense fleet, but hold fire. Fenrin, open negotiations. Velian, ready your tech for surveillance, not attack. Tava, find out more about the rebels. Rian, keep trade routes open. Sarnak, organize a cultural envoy to reach out peacefully. Dallin, keep an eye on potential traitors. We act as one, or we fall apart." It wasn't perfect. There was grumbling, but they grudgingly agreed. Part 4. Finding balance. The next few weeks were a roller coaster. Negotiations with the rebels were tense, but Fenrin's charm worked wonders. Tava uncovered a hidden group within the rebels who wanted war for their own gain, not freedom. Zala's fleet stood ready but never fired a shot. Velian's technology helped us monitor movements without escalating violence. Sarnak's cultural envoys softened many hearts, and Rient's trade deals ensured the planet's economy stayed steady. Meanwhile, I was learning to navigate the complicated personal politics of being the Empress's heir to 7 husbands. Some tried to undermine me, others helped secretly. I learned quickly who to trust and who to keep at arm's length. Dallin, the skeptic, eventually pulled me aside. "You're not what I expected. You're stronger than any human I've ever met. Maybe this prophecy is true after all." I smiled. "Thanks, Dallin. Means a lot coming from you." Part 5. The Legacy of the Empress. One evening, as I sat with Liara on the throne balcony overlooking the twin moons of Virilia, she spoke quietly. "You have done well, my heir. More than I hoped." "Thanks, Your Empress," I said. "But I couldn't have done it without your husbands, even if they're a handful." Liara laughed softly. "They are my strength and my challenge. They will be yours too. But remember, leadership is about balance, between strength and compassion, power and humility." I looked at the 7 husbands gathered below, arguing over something trivial but clearly invested in this strange new ruler. "Balance," I repeated, "and maybe a little patience." Liara smiled, her eyes glowing faintly. "The galaxy watches. You will need both." Part 6. The future is ours. Months passed, and I grew into my role. The rebellious faction was reintegrated peacefully, the economy flourished, and the political tension eased. The 7 husbands, though still occasionally bickering, learned to work with me, not just as an outsider, but as a leader. They each brought their strengths, their loyalty, and their own complicated feelings about a human ruling a Virelian planet. I wasn't perfect. I stumbled, made mistakes, and sometimes wished I could just go back to my old life. But something deep inside told me this was where I was meant to be. One day, as I walked through the palace gardens, Fenrin approached with a grin. "You know," he said, "ruling a planet with 7 husbands and an alien empress as your mentor isn't exactly what I expected when I woke up this morning." I laughed. "Neither did I. But here we are." He nodded. "To the future, with all its chaos and glory." "To the future," I agreed. And as the twin moons of Virilia cast their glow over the palace, I knew one thing for sure: I was ready to rule. Not just as an heir, but as a leader who could bridge worlds, human and alien, old and new. Because sometimes, the most unexpected humans end up shaping the stars.